right, everybody, who's ready for the Lion's Gate? The mega Lion's Gate, because 2024 reduces down to an 8. All of you know that, right? 888. We're going to start our first surf day this week. The Lion's Gate, a big one. And we're going to end with a Grand Cross. So, we've got a first quarter moon to talk about. We have several squares. We have the jovial greatness of Jupiter and Mars. Here's our representation right here. And so we have a collective urgency towards hope and optimism. Let's break this down real quick. This is just the overview slide of the influence. There's a lot happening in the sky. It's much more than just Lion's Gate. We have some specifics. So there's a lot of hope and optimism with the sun in Leo, the waxing crescent moon, first quarter moon as well. And then we've got the Mars-Jupiter thing we've been talking about, and that goes exact towards the end of our surf week. So there's a lot of hope and optimism. All that is expansive. It's jovial, whoop, whoop, and positivity. But there's the opposite as well. There's some tension. There's the forced wisdom with Sun in conjunct Saturn. There's Mercury with another in conjunct to Pluto, bringing some power and control there, especially with mental stuff. And then we have some Saturn influences. You can see these squares here, and it produces a pressure. So there's this collective urgent. That brings in the urgency is the pressure in the system. That's a perfect match to the I-Ching. I mean, it's identical to what we see in the astrology. Then the Dreambot's interesting. Can't wait to show you that one. Really healthy Dreambot. I'm telling you. Number one meme there is agreement. And I think that's really speaks to the Mercury retrograde conjunct with Venus in Virgo, at least in the onset of our week. We want to be in agreement. We want to be mediating, negotiating, hoping for optimism and a positive future, right? All right, let's go. This week we have a three-way tie for the Best Comment Award. And how does this comment award work? Well, if we rely on all of you, we have roughly between 500 and 1,500 views per episode. So we want more of you guys to go down into the comments. And even if you don't comment anything, we want you to put an up arrow on your favorite comment. That's how this best comment is awarded. Whoever gets the most ups. Well, all of these individuals had the same amount. So Julie Gray 687, not for me to say, and CJ Star Monkey 73, three-way tie. Big shout out to all of you. But let's get some more support down in the comments. You don't even have to comment. It would be great if you did. All right, let's go to the Dreambot. Okay, it's getting healthier by the week. One of the indicators is August. It should be at the top because we just started August recently. So yeah, huge surge there. So that's a check. Now votes is in there, and elections are running rampant all over the globe. Here in the United States, we're talking about elections in November. It's almost exclusively what people are talking about. So that makes a lot of sense. But when you really look at the words, they match. If you look at what vote might mean, we're trying to agree on something, trying the majority, trying to agree on and sign. An agreement is in here. Understand two is multiple people on the same sheet of music. So look at all these arrows. It looks confusing as all get out. So I just made it easy. Not that you can see all these, but the number one meme in the Dreambot was agreement / vote. Just that whole meme. Number two was technology. That 7 hits, 7 words. And the continue meme was next, and down at the bottom was change, reset. So change versus continue. I thought that was an interesting, but the most important meme is agreement and vote, and I believe that really speaks to Mercury and Venus. I'll get into the charts here in a second. Grand scheme of things, still in the Aries eclipse cycle. We're we're inside a new moon, a Leo new moon cycle. We're at the first quarter because we're in between the new moon and the full moon. The next CIRF report will have an Aquarian full moon. Whoop, whoop. And then, here shortly, we will be running into eclipse season. So the current energy window runs about 3 weeks or a little over a couple weeks. It's the soul's journey. And you can see as the indicator here, it's largely an individual sort of journey as we approach the next energy window, which I'm really looking forward to personally. Lot to go over here in this chart. Really want to show the importance of Mars and Jupiter. So this one shows a conjunction. This is an azimuth on the 14th, at the very last day of our CIRF report. And then on the 10th, it goes exact in inclination. But it is considered to be in parallel all at the same time. So they go to the very same space, both in azimuth and in inclination. And so that makes it much more intensified. So the meme that we'll talk about, or the archetype that we'll talk about, the energetic stamp, is going to be much stronger. Just keep that in mind because of the parallel. All right, energy chart is about that. Remember, collective urgency towards hope and optimism. It's just that urgency goes up towards the end. This is right at the end is where Mars and Jupiter are conjunct and parallel, but also we develop a lot more squares on it. So it's the urgency line. All right, let's nail down day by day. We start off with the Lion's Gate, 888, Thursday, August 8th. And I've got the main energetic stamps here. We've got the Sun in Leo. We've got a sextile, and we have Jupiter and Mars in Gemini. That whole thing that I've got circled here is basically just cheerful confidence. Then we have on the flip side the precise perception, discerning analysis. This is where the agreements are taking place, negotiations. Everyone kind of putting in their discerning hats on with Mercury and Venus, and then their aspects to Pluto. And the square, that becomes the discerning part. Then 3 is the first quarter moon. That is going to happen a little bit later in our week, but right now, waxing crescent. So energetically, initiatory energy, acting on new ideas. And that's also correlated with Jupiter and Mars together. Then we have this Saturn aspect. You can see Sun at 1638, Saturn at 1811. So this is going to be a growing in conjunction. And it's a heartfelt idealism tempered by sober wisdom. You put all of that together, what you get on the Lion's Gate, here's our stamp for Lion's Gate, is the inspired sculptor. It's a mind full of brilliant ideas, a heart full of passionate enthusiasm. We're poised to create basically an upgraded reality, armed with a keen eye for refinement and the diligence to manifest meaningful change. This is a time to boldly bring forth an enhanced version of yourself and your life with this energy. Remember, all of it included. You might feel exciting new adventures and projects, increased charisma and magnetism, profound personal growth and transformation, especially with Pluto. But keep in mind that there's just a lot of scattered focus. You might have unfinished projects, especially with this over emphasis on getting stuff done or thinking about all the projects you could do. Have quite a bit of impulsiveness with the sun in Leo, leading to unintended consequences. All right, heading into Friday, we have still not quite the first quarter moon yet. Nothing's really changed. Everything's pretty much the same. Even Mercury retrograde is still conjunct with Venus, so a lot of agreement wanting there. We have a tighter in conjunct with Saturn, so everything's just stronger about the inspired sculptor. Now's when we have, well, actually in between Friday, that's the 9th, and the 10th, Saturday, is midnight. And that's when Sun in conjunct Saturn goes exact. And that's the pragmatic visionary. Still strong here in the middle of the Saturday, but it's the pragmatic visionary. The pragmatic visionary holds a shining vision of what could be. So very, very similar to the inspired sculptor. That energy continues, but the archetype navigates the tricky balance between exuberant creativity and seasoned wisdom. Saturn brings in that wisdom, understanding that dreams are only made manifest through consistent, concentrated grit and effort. So you may feel with this in conjunct going exact on Saturday the 10th, inspired leadership and creative problem solving. That's obviously the sun in Leo. Enhanced self-discipline and maturity. That's what Saturn brings. Leaving a meaningful, enduring legacy. So, all right, Sunday the 11th. Really, we have everything the same, not quite a first quarter moon yet, but everything's still energetically similar. Here's our first quarter moon at 10:18 a.m. on Monday the 12th. And now you can see a lot more squares. One of the squares is, by definition, the first quarter moon. And this is in the morning on Monday. But look at all these other squares. We have the Mercury and Uranus. We have Venus really starting to develop strongly on the Jupiter-Mars. But even tighter, as you can see, is Jupiter-Mars square Saturn. So the pressure is starting to build. And this is the discerning adventurer. We got the sun in Leo still. Discerning adventurer stands at a crossroads, feeling the tension between the urge to race forward into exciting new territories. That's the Jupiter and Mars and in Gemini. And the sun in Leo brings that excitement, urge to race forward, exciting new territories. But now we've got the requirement to respect time-tested limits. The archetype must learn to satisfy its appetite for stimulating experiences within the necessary confines of what's realistic and sustainable. You might feel a dynamic problem-solving and mental acuity, the pressure to have that acuity, inspiring yet soul-evolving ventures, and youthful vitality, balanced with mature restraint. And that energy continues, the pressure accelerates until we get into Wednesday. This is our Grand Cross. It's a loose and it's fleeting because one of the points is the moon, but nonetheless, I mean, it still meets the requirements very briefly, but also what's most important, I think, on this chart, not just the Grand Cross, but the Jupiter and Mars exact and parallel. So we have all that on one of the points of the Grand Cross. So at this point, it's the maximum amount of urgency and pressure to feel what it means to have Jupiter and Mars together. It's not just they're together in Gemini. If we didn't have any squares off to the side, these two would be very expansive, unrestricted, go, 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 do, do, do. I mean, it would be just easy to be very impulsive, very correlated to the sun in Leo. But there are the squares, and we have to acknowledge that. Mercury retrograde is not quite yet back into Leo. So all this week is Mercury, mind, and Venus together harmonizing. Both of those are still in discerning Virgo. So very, very negotiative, very detail oriented, just like you saw in all our archetypes. All right, I just couldn't believe this I-Ching reading. I mean, I'm used to it being very similar, but this was over the top, just overlapping with our tropical astrology. It's 64, hexagram 64, but with change lines 1, 3, and 4. The situation is just big picture. Situation is incomplete, but the chaos of the past is giving way to order. The goal is in sight. So can you feel it? It feels like hope. But let's go into the change lines. When you put all the change lines together, you get a state would likely feel like standing at the threshold of a major transformation or accomplishment. There's a palpable sense of potential energy, as if you're about to cross an important finish line, but you're not quite there yet. Now, here's the nuances. Line 1 brings a feeling of heightened awareness, conscious that any false move could upset the delicate balance of your progress. Line 3 introduces a tension between urgency and patience. There's an internal push to move forward quickly, but also a conflicting pull to slow down and ensure everything is in order. I mean, it's a perfect match to what we just talked about in our archetypes. Line 4 adds a layer of both optimism and vulnerability. You can almost taste success, but there's a nagging worry about potential pitfalls. So, talk about an urgency to feel positive. All right, let's go to our summary slide for our influence, and so we can get into the solution. All right, the influence overview says definitely some cheerful confidence and initiatory energy in the air with Leo Sun, a first quarter moon, and Mars Jupiter aligning in Gemini. However, Mercury retrograde alignments, Suns in conjuncted Saturn bring about an edge of discerning analysis, idealism, and a need for wisdom. Venus starts to develop a square to our Gemini players, which produces more yearning and pressure to feel that jovial greatness from Mars and Jupiter. It feels like an inspired sculptor all week, and the quiet hope that collective is all on board. That quiet hope is the Venus and Mercury retrograde in Virgo and those related alignments as well. The week culminates with a brief grand cross at the end of the week, which maximizes our urgency for the positive side of life. All right, let's get back to our solution now. When you put the change lines in, you get hexagram 26, containment of potential. This points to command and control of great power, a power that increases as it is wisely stewarded. So here's our recommendations for some behaviors based on this hexagram. Cultivate inner strength and self-discipline. Exercise restraint and control over one's impulses. Seek wisdom and guidance. Use power responsibly. Practice patience and timing in your endeavors. Can you see how this is a perfect explanation or recommendation based on the influence? All right, the biggest energy this week is the Jupiter and Mars conjunction and inclination parallel. And so that's on Wednesday at 10:21 a.m. And that puts us in hexagram 35 of the Rave Mandala, and it gives us Sidereal Taurus. All right, so hexagram 35 of the Rave, it says rectification, line 6, the energy to correct, basically the progressive change that results from correction. But on the downside, it says correction that brings change through severity and even destruction, and will always meet resistance. So we have two kinds of correction here according to our very important Rave reading. It means that we're working towards correction, we're working towards rectification. However, if you notice that a lot of resistance is taking place, it's probably not the right time. So the timing is important here. Let me read this. The process of crystallization coupled with ambition that assures timely and effective correction. So there's a timing, there's a rightness. It's not just let's correct. It's let's think about correcting, but only doing it when it's the right time. Okay, so that's an important aspect there. And here's our overview of our solution. We have containment of potential. This is just basically taking all the wisdom, treading, somewhat carefully, but it's moving forward powerfully, but with great wisdom. And then rectification, we just looked at that. It's the right timing is important. Taurus is ready to move forward boldly, stubbornly. And we have the first quarter moon, so it's moving forward. There's a lot in our suggested behavior of moving forward. So let's read this. The mindsets and behaviors this week are best oriented towards these specific characteristics. Initiating, moving forward, but with wisdom and good timing. That's the containment and part of the Rave. And applying progressive changes as necessary. That's the Rave. This is not an impulsive time, but rock steady, self-confident, very discerning, and willing to make corrective action. However, not all corrections are warranted. The tall tale sign for right corrective measures and timing is the level of resistance. If you get a lot of resistance, consider stopping or pausing your corrective action while garnering more wisdom and knowledge or something else that you need. Maybe a missing tool or something like that. The first quarter moon suggests to move forward towards your tropical Leo goals. Those were outlined last week at the new moon. And as we move forward towards those goals, we do so deliberately. We do so in accordance with Taurus. Deliberately, practically, and reliably. Give it your all, but step cautiously instead of bombastically. 1 foot at a time with the Taurus. Right? All right, we have another slide, our weekly plant, and I love this. This is Dandelion, herbs of Jupiter and the asteroids. It's a summer favorite in my neighborhood. It's the biggest enemy number 1, except for in my lawn. And we are acquiring quite a few. We are also able to keep Hoa off our butts too. Just baffling. And I think Sean talks about this as well down in here about Dandelion, how we gaff our fruitless efforts to rid our yards of Dandelion. Despite our folly each year, he abundantly reappears, victorious and healthy, manifesting the return of light and marking seasonal time itself. Let the light of the Lion's Gate be guided by Dandelion to help interpret and incorporate the genetic information available through this powerful portal. I think she's suggesting to go down and find some dandelion seeds on the Lion's Gate and blow them in dispersal. I think it's a great idea. And also put those into my tea, both me personally, in our detox, pretty much a nightly tea. We use the dandelion leaf, and we also use the dandelion root. In addition to other correspondences, Dandelion and the 888 Lionsgate portal go hand in hand. Welcome the Leo energies with this infinite childlike happiness and evolutionary potential that Dandelion embodies and cultivates. All right, well, there you have it. You can screenshot this and have it at your disposal. This is Crafted for Humanity with Love by Sean Elizabeth Nelson. Thank you, Sean. All right, there you have it. And let's end on our solution slide so you can remember that. Take a snapshot of that for you. We got a big, bold week coming up. I think there's got to be plenty of suggestions here for you. What was the most useful in today's report for you? What is the most important thing to remember for you? And personally, I am looking forward to this soul's journey, but the next energy window, I think it's the Earth 2.0. Hope I'm not speaking out of turn or making an error on that, but really looking forward to that. All right, everybody, enjoy Lionsgate. Be well this week. Be powerful. Be loving. And we will see you in the next report. Take care.